So if you want to know how we trade, it's pretty simple. We look at certain chartings and we take a look at it and say, okay, fine, based on this chart, as it gets to these levels, and obviously you're looking at moving average, but I could pull up any stock, but the main focus is, no doubt about it, hold on, let me put one of my channels lower, but the main focus is volume. Without volume, it doesn't matter. So if you look at our charting system, what we basically look at is we want to basically see it fall into a range. Now, if you've been trading for any amount of time, you're going to realize that range is going to dictate where the stock should trade in normally. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to get into this range and you're not going to breach it. Yeah, of course it is. It's very similar to a rubber band. So as you're pulling the rubber band longer and longer and longer and longer, there's going to be more pressure on it to go back to zero. And that's what ends up happening. So if you watch it right now, this is live. So if you watch it right now and you say, okay, fine, in the opening bell, there was a ton of volume at 9:30. Stock went up here. What happened? And you can see right now it's breaching this, okay? But prior, it breached, came back down. Touched on the bottom, went back up. Touched on the top, went back down. Breached this right now, okay? At 148.37.40, it's below. I can bet pretty much 99%, okay, that it's gonna go up. It's at 39. It might go down to 147.18. It might go down to 147.07, but it will go up eventually above this yellow line. It will definitely go above this yellow line. That's just how it, that's just basically using mathematics. Now, where people go wrong when they use this formula, okay, is that they get in and they say, oh, it has to go above that line. Nothing has to do anything, okay? What it has to do is, basically, we've seen this close below the line now, and now here you are. It hit the low of it, two things can happen, okay? If it breaches this previous low, we're still gonna hang into it, okay? We wanna have one more candle that breaches below, and then the next candle, we're gonna load up. That's usually what ends up happening. So right now, if we were in this trade, okay, we are not in this trade, we would have gotten in somewhere in this ballpark. Let's just say the high was 148.71. Let's just say 70. Actually, 71, okay? We would have been in at 148.71. Let's just say we got the worst fill in the world, okay? Now we want this to go above. We want it to bounce off this yellow line right here. And I can tell you what the yellow line is, but that's, something that we do. So it's at 60, 63, 66, 55. It's just puttering around. Now this is the most important candle, green to green. We all know that, okay? You want to see it break its momentum and start to slide back up. You can see over here, green to green, moved up. Red to red, moved down. Green to green, moved up. Red, 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 green. Green, green, green. So right now it's going back to red. So it didn't catch that bid. It's still below. We're still about, let's just say on the worst case scenario, 30, 40 cents below where we need to be. Now, we're not saying based off of where this started off with, okay, that it's going to touch the top line and go above the top line. That's not what we're saying. We always look at VWAP. The purple line is volume weighted average price. That's where you want to look at, okay? So based on this volume weighted average price, if you're looking at this stock right now and you're saying, okay, hold on a second, you're at 148.20. Around here, I would be adding in. This is where I would be adding in, okay? Because, again, we're saying it more than like nothing has to happen. I agree. but it more than likely will revert back and head towards VWAP. That's just the law of averages, mathematically speaking. Now, had we volume, went in there and loaded up a little bit more on this candle right here, now we're sitting on this candle. This candle still doesn't tell us that we really should load up, okay? Because it's green, but it hasn't gone green to green. It's at the yellow line right now. It hasn't bounced off of it yet. So we're waiting for this yellow line to bounce, for this stock to bounce off that yellow line right now. That's where we're at. So now it's turned red again, okay? So we have a slight green, okay? Slight green. Will this turn and become a green candle right here? If it does, we make money, okay? If it doesn't, we're gonna bail on this thing, okay? That's really what's gonna happen. So right now, you see, even if we hadn't dollar cost averaged in, we're at 82, 80, 71. And what did I say? I said if we got in at 71, okay, the high, and we didn't average in, guess what it's doing? It just bounced off that level right there again. That's exactly what ends up happening. Now, what does that mean for a trader? Yeah, sounds simple, okay? Sounds very simple. It's not simple. It's all mathematics, okay? If you can do the math and execute your trades, okay, you'll get in and get out, make some crumbs, okay? Are you trying to hit a home run? No doubt about it. Will this possibly take off again? It could, all right, no doubt about it. But at this point, you have to take the majority of your stock and run with it at this point, okay? So we're sitting on here, a lot of selling pressure going on, but it did not go. Like I said, we would have gotten out of 10 cents profit, roughly, okay? That's where we would have been. Again, it's red to red. It's still, and it's above the yellow line. We're waiting for it to bounce and catch a bid on it, okay? So right now it's down about 2 1/4, okay? And again, the one thing you have to look at is sentiment of the market, okay? Sentiment of the market tells you right now there's more selling pressure going on than buying pressure. When the sentiment is bullish, this would take off tremendously. When it's the opposite way around, you have to play it a little bit differently. So that's how I would have played it. And again, right now it's dipping down. At this point, if we wanted to get re-enter this trade, we would re-enter this trade when it just breached the yellow line, okay? And then we'd say, okay, fine, let's take a look at it and let's get back into it again, possibly. But again, you're looking at the chart and you're seeing that it's following the trend of this yellow, all right? There was a slight blip up, nothing major. This was not a real good indication. The best indications are in the morning, okay? And that's where the mathematics of it has to come in, all right? If you can do the math on this, all right, and figure out what you're aiming for, the opportunity's there to make money. No two ways around it. It's just, are you gonna go in too heavy? Are you gonna go in without maintaining what your price position should be and looking at your outs? Now, sometimes you're gonna trade this and you're gonna get an opportunity like this, where it hits the line, bounces up, okay? And again, what did we say? We're aiming towards volume weighted average. But as you're going up, you're laying off this the whole time. You're selling, 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 selling. That's what you're doing. As it goes back, when it touches it again, you want to go back on. Boom. When it touches it again, you go back in. And then, finally, when it touches it the third time, look what happens. It goes to volume weighted average. Would we still have some shares there? Yeah, we'd still have some shares. Are we going to be aiming for a home run? Probably not. But you could erode some all the way up, and then when you start to get to this line up here, you might not have to wait when you get to this line up here, because again, the market sentiment today, this is down $8.37. So the market sentiment is that, yeah, you're not going to get a bullish rush up here. So you're going to be more cautious as it's going up here, and saying, okay, it's going to fall down again. No two ways around it. And it does. Okay. Just like Palantir, just like everything. Okay. You have to be very careful about what it is. So let's take a look at Tesla. What did Tesla do? Went to the top, wiped out quickly. All right. Sentiment today. And Tesla is actually on a bullish run, so to speak. Okay. They had some great news yesterday. Went to a bullish run. Went to the bottom, okay, and that's what you have to look at is how is the sentiment of the stock, how is the sentiment of the market. Not everything works together, okay? So if you can figure out your game plan in the morning, I'm playing Palantir. Sentiment of Palantir is bearish, no two ways around it. So your biggest plays would have been up here at the top echelon, all right? Now Tesla is a bullish candle, okay? It's a bullish play right now. Now, let's look at the market. The market says, it's okay. Now, you have 1 out of 2. You have a bullish stock, okay, because they reported and they reported nicely. And then you have a bearish sentiment on the market right now. So, up here, I don't know if I would have shorted Tesla, to be honest with you. I would have been very wary about it because, like I said, there is a bullish sentiment on it, okay, right now. Up here with Palantir, that would have been a no-brainer to short this one right here. But as you see, you're going to keep riding along this line, okay? And that's when math basically comes into play here. AMD, to be quite honest with you, would be a nice short up here. If I had to guess, if it gets to this ballpark right up here, this would definitely be a short. Now, obviously, we're waiting for it to get to the ballpark of 245.11, all right? And then I would slowly add to that position right there. That's what I would do, okay? So right now, let's just take a look at this and let's see what happens. All right. And like I said, this is live. This is our charts. This is how we do it. And you can see the stocks react emotionless. That's just how it is. There's nothing about it that's going to tell you, oh my God, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't get emotional. But see, that's where you have to figure out how much money am I playing with? You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to say, okay, fine. If I get in there and I lose enough that I'm fine with it, okay? If that's what happens, then great. You know what I'm saying? If you're playing to play a home run every single time, you're going to lose. No two ways around it. It's just not going to happen. Nobody can just swing for the fences all the time. Nobody. So, like I said, we're watching for this right now. And you can see AMD starting to fall down again. If we had added that position right there, it's starting to basically track down. At the high, you know, when we were talking about it was at 46. 246, 245.46. So it's about $1 in the money right now, roughly about $1. So you could have taken $1 off that one right now, okay? And you can see Palantir still, we had outs, okay? We had outs several times, even though the stock's not doing anything. We had our outs, no two ways around it, okay? Here, you can see Tesla. I would not have shorted this. That's just my personal opinion, okay? I would not have shorted this, and then look what's happening. It is going down because it's getting to that top momentum. You can see AMD still going to the downside. Beautiful short. If we had gotten into this one right now, this is a perfect short. Look at this. Oh my goodness, wow. Now, at this point, we're $2 in the money. Roughly $2 in the money, and it's getting crushed right now. Absolutely. Look at that. Wow. Fantastic. Unbelievable. AMD just getting absolutely crushed. But look at the candles. You got to the high up here. Didn't even get to touch it at that point. Didn't even get to touch it. But it went to the high of the day. All right. On the open. It went to the high, touched it, and just reverted back automatically. 242.23. That trade, $3 in the money. Absolutely $3 in the money. And still going. and still going. Now, on this one, had we played the short, right about here, we would start taking some of it off. I would probably be 50 to 60%, if not more, out of this trade right now. That's where I would be, okay? And I would say, okay, at this point, 50 to 60% out of this trade. Look at this. This thing just got crushed. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, right now you would be 50 to 60% out of this trade. And if it starts to make a green candle, right now I would take probably another 25% out. And I would leave 10% in there at most. At most. Okay? That was just a huge shock that happened to the market. So here's another one. Apple. Apple right now, okay, is 256. Trading basically flat. Trading flat right now. Okay? But I really don't know what the sentiment is on Apple. Had good numbers, but didn't really do great in my opinion. So here we have a bearish sentiment on the market right now. If you want to go and start shorting Apple, this is a better bet than trying to play the bounce on somebody. Okay? On today's market, I would be looking short on this 150%. Okay? So right now, it's making a tremendous topping tail at this point. Tremendous topping tail. That topping tail is probably almost $1. Wow, unbelievable. And now you can see AMD is below VWAP. Let's see if it can recover and bounce a little bit. Maybe, maybe not. So if I was in Apple right now, I would take a very small short. Okay. I would be looking at a maximum of a 1% loss, a maximum 1% loss, okay? And that's how you have to look at trading, as percentages of losses that might possibly happen, all right? It's not dollars and cents. It's if I'm risking 50 cents, or $5, let's just say, okay? Out of my total account, how much do I have to lose out of that to lose 1%? Okay, if I'm risking $5,000, it might be only 1 penny for me to lose 1% of my account. So right now you have to look at this and say, okay, fine. If I got in this at 256.87, I'm 8 cents out of the money, 7 cents out of the money. Now my belief is that this can go up to 65, 257.75. So $1, this can go up more. Okay. I would start the position here right now, but this can go up another $1. So that's why I would not load this up to no end, okay? I'm feeling that the sentiment on this is going down. That's my belief on where it's going down, but I'm projecting for this to be able to go up a little bit further, all right? My thought process is that based on this, that the sentiment of the market, where it's headed, it could go up to here. No doubt about it. The market could turn positive all of a sudden, and bear sentiment becomes bull sentiment. No two ways around it, okay? I mean, there was a huge hammer candle right over here. It rebought everything up from 256.28, all right? And now we're sitting on the high of the day at 257.21. So at 257.21, you know, like I said, I'm out of the money, but I'm waiting at this avenue, this juncture, to say, where do I get out of this? Okay, where do I start adding to this position? All right, that's where I want to look at. So right now, based on where we're at, we're not adding to this situation right this second. All right, we're gonna wait. If this gets out of our wheelhouse another 50, 60 cents, then when it starts to get into 257.65 range, that's when we would add. But again, we're only starting with a small position, all right? We're starting with a position that if we go $1.50 out of our way, we would lose $1, 1%. That's what we would lose, okay? So we're not, and listen, there's nobody alive that hits 100% of their stocks. Nobody. Absolutely nobody, okay? If you did, you would be so wealthy, it would be astronomical, okay? So you can see, based off of our charting right now, you can see, had we got into this hammer candle right here, like we said, all right, right now, we would be pretty much in the money. Touched on it, started getting up here. We did not add, okay? I'm not going to lie and say, oh yeah, we loaded up here. That's not where we loaded up. We might have added a few shares, but look at this. Total reversion right here. Got high, sentiment on the market, and any way you slice it, we're in the money here. We just made money on this stock right here, okay? So this one reverted back, sentiment of the market is negative, boom. Huge sell candle, okay? So that one shows you what the power of these channels are. And you can go stock after stock after stock, a live analysis of the stock. And again, you're not sitting there thinking that you're going to make $15 off of every stock. You're a moron. At that point, you would have closed the trade out because you're profitable, and then the stock goes back up. Now, would I have kept 20%, 30%, 40%? Possibly, but as it retreated back, I would have dumped it, no two ways around it. I would have said, okay, it made its move. It's not going to make a bigger move, and that's what we're done, okay? So that's my personal opinion, all right? To give you an idea of why you have to watch out for the candles is, let's take a look at SoFi here in the corner, okay? SoFi here in the corner, okay, if you look at SoFi here in the corner, it sort of came out of the gate, bounced, and then just tremendously decided it was going to go to a downward spike, all right? Never breached the line. And that's where you have to remember is breaching the line, okay? Because this is real-time data. Granted, maybe it's a minute off or something like that, but essentially it's real-time data, okay? Breaching that line is very vital. If it trails with the line, you're just going to get chewed up, okay? You can see it touched on the channel over here, but it didn't break out over here. So it's just chomping along, chomping along, chomping along. You would have gotten chewed up on this 15 different times Saturday, okay? Because let's just say you went in here, and this is way too early to go into it, but let's just say you got in here, you got back out. When are you going to get back in? Look at the spread on these, all right? The spreads are tremendous, all right? Let's just say you got in halfway. Right about now, you'd be getting out at a break even. That's where you'd be going out. You'd be getting out at a break even at this point, okay? Not that saying it's bad. Sometimes you're going to have break evens. But it didn't breach the line right now. So at this point, it would still be a short in my position. My position is that when it gets to this breach of the high, this would be a nice short over here. That's my personal opinion. Now, getting back to Apple over here, it's starting to get closer and closer. We would have been closed out on this position, and now we're adding back into this position. Right about here at 257.55, I'm going to see what this candle does. I mean, it had a nice dip down, but it's trying to turn green over here, and it has. So right now, I would take a small position, okay? Just a small position at 257.50. And let's see what happens. Your odds are, and see, this is where you have to look at it. What are my odds that this is going to go down? The higher you go up, the better odds that you have. Is anything 100%? No, not even close, okay? But when you're up there and you're starting to see the rubber band stretching, guess what? Boom. Look at that. We just said if we took a short position right here and we would have gotten out roughly 257.59, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60, 70 cents, and it's still on a red candle, you would have made pretty much 50 cents on this thing. And you're going to let some of it run until it breaks its high again at a break even. So at this point, it's so high up, you're just going to let it run. And let's see what happens. So if you really want to understand how to trade, that's how you trade. You look at the charts and you see what are your best odds that are out there. Okay? And we trade every day and we try to make sure that this happens. Look at that. It's definitely on a downward trajectory, it looks like. There we go. There we go. All right. Whoops. All right. And now you're in a green candle and you would take most of, well, you'd wait a second. It happened so fast I wouldn't even have the time to do it. So let's see what happens. Look at this trade. Another beautiful trade. Another beautiful trade. So you can see right now we've got a winner right there. And it's probably going to capitulate a little bit more down. But notice, as it started getting up, the pressure on it became too much. Started going back up, pressure. You had a lot of sellers coming in there. And now we would be really, if this closes green, I probably would hold on for 10 seconds. I would have been out 75% of this trade by now. Minimum, I would have been 75% out of this trade. That's what I would have done. Okay? And now I'm gone. Because now it just went green to green. I'm gone. I don't care if this flushes $10 more at this point. Doesn't make a difference. And just like that, on the opposite side, if I'm losing, I'm doing the same exact thing. The sentiment is negative today, but you can go 1,000 stocks. I mean, look at it this way. Tesla went close. Again, when it's there, it's close. When it went above, boom. It's just easy peasy. Alibaba went up close, came down. Went up, touched, went down. Now, Apple's going up again. SoFi, again what we're saying with SoFi, has not touched that line. So there is nothing there that's going to basically make me want to play that stock right now. Nothing. We can go to, what do you want to see? Starbucks? Starbucks is right there already. Silver. Let's take a look at silver. All right. Silver touched the line, but I'll be quite frank with you. I don't know if I would really want to do silver. Okay. It's so volatile right now. Silver, not doing anything. Not doing anything I would like. Okay. You're basically playing, lines on there, and it would get pretty interesting, to be quite frank with you. So that's how we basically execute our trades, and that's how we look at it. All right, and everything with trading is getting in and getting out, taking a profit, minimizing your loss. Simple as that. All right. Right now, it's breaking above the high again. We would have been completely out of this trade at this point. We might lay another bet on this, another short on this. Okay, we've already went to the well twice. All right, and we might take a third time going into this, depending on this candle. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So as it's getting higher, I'm just taking a look at one more second, and let's see if we can get a nice little home run on this one. So I might take a small position on this one again, start to get in that ballpark. Right now 257.62. So let's do the math on this. We do 100 shares here, okay? 257.58. We're holding on it, right? We're in at 58. Let's see what happens, okay? 100 shares. Are we going to add? If it still keeps going up, we're going to add some to the short, no doubt about it. But that would have to be in the ballpark of 258.12. So we would be 70 cents away, okay? We're at 58, all right? At 258.12 is when we would add to this short. So this way, okay, so we would have added right now, okay? We would add it out and probably be in the ballpark around 257.80, okay? So that's when we would be adding right now. We would start loading up on this because at this point this thing just went south, went really just jacked up. But this is the short that we want to be in right now at the 258.30 level. So with our ads in there, we're at 258.87. Okay, at 258.87 we've loaded this thing up, absolutely loaded this thing up. Okay, so we're going to see what happens, and we're going to see what kind of time frame it takes us to get out of this trade. But we're in at 87, and like I said, hopefully we get a downward push on this thing. 257.87. We're not totally screwed, but 257.87 is where we're at. So let's see where we go. To give you an idea, Palantir, if we had been in at 148.71, we'd just be breaking even right now. So we would be just getting out of this with money. It finally respected the idea of bouncing and came out of there. So you wouldn't have made a heck of a lot of money on it, but you would have made a few dollars, a few pennies on this thing. Okay, so no two ways around it. All right, so here we are. We're waiting for this to break down. We break down on this one, we're going to have a nice trade on this one. That's what we're hoping for. The market's starting to turn a little bit, which is great, for the overall market. But let's see this get one more downward push on here at 257. So again, you see, it just made another high at 47.53.66. So we just added to this position. Now it's adding us into 258.30. So we're in at 258.30. We've just loaded up the cart at this point. Okay, we only have about 2 or 3 more bullets left in the gun to go after this before we're going to have to bail on this. Okay, and like I said, you don't win every single time. We're at a 60% level right now, meaning that we've put all our cards on the table at this point. So let's see what happens. Another 40%, we go in 100%. So at 60%, we're still okay. All right, come on. 258.30, that's what we're at. We're still holding on. You can take a look at Palantir. Palantir's shooting above now. We're making a nice profit on this at 149.12. We're loaded up at 258.30. We haven't added to this position. Okay, so okay, now we're almost profitable. Almost profitable. Okay, so it's holding on to our level, and that's one thing I absolutely hate is when that happens. It holds your level, but look what's happening. It's not dropping down as fast as I'd like it to, but we are making a profit. So hopefully this keeps going down, gets back below 258. There we go. 212s, 19s. Oh, there we go. There we go. So now we're making money. At 258.30, what happened? The rubber band broke, came all the way back down. At this point, we're taking off 80% of our trade. Absolutely taking 80% of our trade. We just ripped 50 cents off, which was a huge trade for us, huge trade. So hopefully this has run out of gas, okay? Oh, look at that, look at that. The rubber band broke, snapping back now. So there you can see basically how we execute our trades, okay, in real time. You can see it actually happening in real time, and it doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a genius. If you're struggling with trading and you can't figure out the patterns, the only thing that you have to know, okay, is how much money you have and how much money are you willing to put up there. Oh, look at this trade. Oh my God. This is a fantastic. At 258.30, we just took $1 out of this trade. $1.15 right now. Look at this. $1.15, $1.30. Oh my goodness. Wow, look at that. Look at that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Whew. Oh my God, $1.50. Just got crushed. And then look at Palantir. Palantir, we took over 50 cents on that trade. So we've closed everything out. AMD, we got out of there right about VWAP, took rest of it on the way up. That was a fantastic trade. Fantastic trade. And Palantir's still going. And watch, just so you know, okay, we are 90% out of Palantir, okay? And at this point, whatever happens to Palantir, we don't really care. We've made 6 times our goal today. 6 times, okay? And it's just based off of math. And we'll do another video showing how to execute these trades. And then how you do it is part of the reason, but it's all mathematics. Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. You've just got to take the time to study and learn, and you'll make yourself, look, it's 10:21. In less than an hour, we made 6 times our daily goal. So, enjoy. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.